Hello YouTube! In the winter of 1959, 9 hikers, skiers, mountain explorers who went on a hike under the leadership of Igor Dyatlov disappeared in the mountains of the northern Urals in the USSR. A month later, rescuers found their tent cut open, and within a radius of 1.5 kilometers from this tent, they found 5 frozen bodies. The bodies of the others were found only in May. Almost all the hikers were barefoot and half-dressed. Some had fatal injuries. It is still not solved why the young people ran away in the bitter cold and to their doom. The tragedy that occurred more than 60 years ago at the Dyatlov Pass continues to, of course, worry Russians, and people want to find out what really happened. Those interested in my continuous research of this case need only to look at my playlist, Dyatlov Pass. I follow up on the most interesting Russian developments, such as the ones from the special correspondents of the Russian newspaper Komsomolskaya Pravda, well-known Russian investigative reporters Nikolai and Natalia Varsegov. They have been pursuing clues in the Dyatlov Pass story for years. Today I will present their latest findings, very dramatic ones, I believe. Look, hundreds of people took part in the search for the hikers, both civilians and military. At that time, the nameless pass was visited by the Dyatlov's peers, students of the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Soviet soldiers, servicemen from the 5th Railway Company, headed by Lieutenant Colonel Shestopalov, worked there for several weeks. And there was another group of military men from the military unit 6602 under the command of Captain Chernyshov. It consisted of conscripts of the armed labor camp guard. Among them was Sergeant Hamza Sinyukayev. He is 85 years old in 2021. Hamza Fazilovich lives in the Kurgan region, on the border with Kazakhstan. The search for Dyatlov's group was remembered by him as the most unusual incident in his army service. Here's the interview with Hamza Sinyukayev. We also refer to him by his father's paternal name, Hamza Fazilovich Sinyukayev. Here's what he said. I was drafted in 1957. In 1960, I was discharged from the service. I was a sporty guy, tough, but I still remember how hard it was for me on the pass. Do you remember how it all started? Varsegov's asking. In March 1959, we were alerted at night. And where were you then? In a strict regime colony, referring to the labor camp. In Ivdel 2, in the morning, I remember we were at the airfield. A helicopter was waiting for us, and mourners. Who? Parents of those hikers. They begged, find our children. We cried, and by this time we heard that allegedly only 2 were found, a guy and a girl. And it was as if they were next to each other, as if he was dragging her on himself. How many of you were there? 8 or 9. What was the order? Search for everything: people, backpacks, letters, notes, cameras. It was said that every tourist had a camera. I need to take a break here. In Russian, the hikers also were referred to as tourists. It's a slightly different term than in the United States. It's not just tourists who go for sightseeing and fun. We also refer to tourists as people who like to explore the unknown, forest and so forth, who like nature exploration. Anyway, back to what Sinyukov was saying. When we disembarked from the helicopter, the first thing they took us to the place of the tent of the Dyatlov group, but everything was already dismantled and trampled there. In what conditions did you live on the pass? In a soldier's big tent for 25 people, Besides us, there were civilian searchers, a radio operator, and our guards. Were you guarded? Of course, constantly, both day and night. And why and who was guarding you? Company Commander Chernyshov and some other captain from Sverdlovsk were watching us so that we would not run away anywhere, so that the hikers' belongings were not accidentally stolen. Well, you never know what. How did you search for the hikers? In the morning, we got up early, had a dry breakfast, took the snow dipsticks and went to search. We were assigned a place to search, lined up in a line of 10 to 15 people, and we were constantly poking snow. If something suddenly hit under the snow, the commander was called. He checked and then ordered to dig it up. But we didn't find anyone or anything, just rocks. How long have you been at the pass? A month. At first we honestly searched, and then we began to cut corners. We quickly realized that people had already walked along the same area before us. Moreover, we came across boot marks there. Where they came from, it is unclear. Still, they walked like in felt boots. That's what it showed. Therefore, the guys and I decided that these people in boots walk here before us, and we're not simple or usual people. Maybe they were even from the KGB, but that was just our speculation. It was necessary to somehow explain the presence of these tracks or footprints. And why didn't these tracks get covered up if they were left before you came there? You see, the tracks were not covered up with snow at all. They were blown out and they remained on the snow crust for a long time. Do you remember the names of your colleagues? Only two. Viktor Klimenko, he has already died, and Yuri Zauzin. We also had a company from the special department with us. I'll take a note here. Sinyukayev is referring to the KGB. How did you understand that? They were all in sheepskin coats and armed. They didn't communicate with us. Maybe it was the sappers from the railway company. No, there were sappers before us. We flew to the pass after them. And what did this company from the special department do? They searched with us with dipsticks. And what were you wearing? Reefer jackets, hats, felt boots. Have you been told what happened to the hikers? We were only told that the guys went on a hike and died, but they were killed. Is that what you decided? No, the prisoners told us. How did they know? The prisoners knew all the news and what was happening in the Far East and in Irkutsk and here, right under your nose. Consider a tragedy has occurred. We, the convoy, lived together with the convicts, and of course we discussed this case. So the convicts said it was a murder, but you're not looking where you should. So if the prisoners told you about the death of hikers, then it turns out that one of the prisoners killed them? Although most of them were in prison for murder, but no, it wasn't the convicts who killed the guys, Dyatlov people. By that time, I had already served for the 3rd year and knew the convict habits well. They wouldn't have followed the hikers into the mountains. There wasn't much to take from the hikers. There are no values to take such a risk for. And if the convicts ran away, they would try to leave by railway. A fugitive can't stay in the forest for a long time in winter. Snow drifts up to the waist. While crawling in them, the dogs will find those who escape. Did the investigators interview the prisoners? I don't remember that. And you? No. What was the hardest part of the search? Weather, strong wind and frost. And what was the most unusual? Bright spheres in the sky. They rose, ascended from the south and went behind to the Otorten mountain. Sometimes we heard the sounds of explosions from there. Most often it happened at night. Someone will go to the toilet, like, and see the balloon and tell the others to get up. What kind of spheres were they, in your opinion? You and the guys have probably discussed this. We discussed it, but we couldn't understand it. And the officers didn't talk about that. Did the Mansi look with you in your search? No. They came to us once a week when the helicopter brought food. They exchanged meat and horns with pilots for alcohol. They exchange it and get drunk right away. I remember how one Mansi got very drunk and he wanted more. He needed more. And the helicopter pilot refused. Then he took out a gorgeous sable skin from his bosom. I got jealous. I wish I had one. The pilot took this sable and poured more alcohol. They generally always had alcohol with them. We stole it from them. What happened after the search? They brought us to the unit, sent us to the bathhouse, changed our clothes, and we were told to forget everything that heard in the mountains and not tell anyone anything. But you didn't know what happened there. Why was it necessary to be silent? I don't know. Now, here's something that the Varsegovs added to this interview. The opinion of the prisoners who know everything is, in their opinion, rather dubious. However, there are curious moments in the memoirs of Hamza Sinyukayev that show the reality of the search that took place. At the very beginning, the search for the missing hikers was rushed zealously, and whatever was on the surface, the tent, the first corpses, were found quickly. After that, the enthusiasm clearly faded. It became obvious that the remaining 4 also died somewhere here. Therefore, what is the point of trying if the snow will soon melt, and the bodies will show up by themselves? Sinyukayev refutes the hypothesis of the attempt on the hiker's life by fugitive convicts, proving once again that no prisoner will rush to the mountains in winter, where you can die from the cold. And here are those mysterious spheres again. Yes, the Varsegovs have already written that the spheres are most likely traces of rocket launches. The dates of the launch of rockets from Kapustin Yar and the dates when the searchers saw balloons, so to say, in the sky over Otterton coincide. But this time there is this. The sounds of the explosions were heard behind the Otterton mountain where the spheres went. If such information about the explosions, presumably of the spheres behind the Otterton, is confirmed from any other sources, it will be a serious reason to investigate this mystery. They thank Hamza Fazilovich for this conversation, and I do too. And soon I will bring you more of the very interesting and virtually unknown in the West developments in this case. It's a most complicated and very tragic case in the history of the Russian, I would say, criminal history, and also unknown paranormal. And there are people in Russia who will continue this research. So I will stay updated, and I will share it with my audiences. I thank you for your support. If you can support me, you will find the links in the description to this video. Please subscribe to my channel, tell others, and I hope to bring you more videos as soon as I can. Thank you.